Hello and welcome back to another time-lapse video where we're going to be covering a substance I've been creating for Nodevember 2020. This is going to be for day 4 of Nodevember, where the topic was grain, and I decided to make this harvest corn, multicolored corn design substance that was based off some images I had seen online. Sometimes it's referred to as Indian corn. And I don't know if it's edible or anything like that, but a lot of the colors and stuff like that made it look like it'd be a really interesting substance to tackle, so I jumped into it. I believe there's a lot of room for improvement and more unique details within this substance for what I've created in the last day or so, but I think that the bare bones of the material are definitely there, and it'll be fun to build on top of that later if I decide to come back and flesh it out a bit more. One thing that I thought was kind of cool about this material was how quickly and easily I could change the color of the kernels just by plugging in a different color map into that tile sampler node. I think the tile sampler node has a lot of versatility in terms of how to create some fun shapes. I've even created like a sequin material where I could color each individual sequin with a different color based off a color map, and so I drew on that experience to build something similar here by plugging in just a white noise that was run through a gradient map to get some different unique colors. So basically randomizing. It's very similar to the functionality of like a flood fill node, except because I didn't have the different shapes separated out like is needed for a flood fill, I knew a flood fill wouldn't work, and so this essentially did the same thing in a way that was actually usable by my graph. I believe a lot of the interest in the peppermint material that I created for day 2 was mostly derived from how shiny it was, which really allowed it to show off the surface imperfections, and it really sold that glossy candy feel. Of course, with corn, it's not going to be as glossy as a candy cane. So I had to find new ways to really sell the believability of that material. I did this by adding things like dirt in the crevices, so it's a little bit more rough in the crevices. I added some pitting and some like surface imperfections to the individual kernels just to break up the monotony of that kernel shape I generated. And like I said, I think that this material definitely has room for improvement, so I think those were good things to tackle, but spending more time on this will definitely be a good way to get it to that next level. My intent in recording and sharing my process while I work on these Nodevember substances is not for people to rebuild the substances for themselves step by step. In fact, a lot of these Nodevember substances specifically are pretty unfinished due to the nature of tackling a new theme every day. You can certainly follow along node by node if that's helping you learn, but what I really hope is that bits and pieces of my process will help others with tackling their own substances in the future. There's a lot of ways to accomplish the same thing in Designer, so it's not necessarily about me showing the definitive way to do something, but rather it's an attempt to provide everyone with the largest collection of tools to accomplish the task at hand. I hope these are insightful to watch, and as always, feel free to ask any questions in the comments. We'll figure it out together. And as we come to the end of my ramblings, I hope you enjoy the rest of this time lapse for my harvest corn substance.